Good day. So we are the group SIC. We are composed of Gokotano, I myself, Gintalian, and Elosistrimo. Topic is OCIMF or All Companies International Maritime Forum, MEG4 or Mooring Equipment Guidelines, an update, bridge procedures, preparations for arrival at port. Here are the course outcome. So number one, to develop understanding in the amendments and new features of OCIMF Mooring Equipment Guidelines 4th edition. Number two, to effectively apply safe and proper procedures and preparation upon arrival at port. Number three, to apply the importance of MEG4 or the Mooring Equipment Guidelines and the basic procedures and preparations upon arrival at seaworthiness. So next is the learning outcome. On completion of this presentation, you should be able to, number one, demonstrate recommended management with regards to shipboard operations according to MEG4 or the Mooring Equipment Guidelines 4th edition. Number two, explain the updates present in the 4th edition of the Mooring Equipment Guidelines of Oil Companies International Maritime Forum. Lastly, establish and define the proper procedures and preparations for arrival at port. Importance of the topic. Incidents from failures of HMSF or the high module synthetic fiber mooring lines have been raising a red flag in the maritime industry. And so the OCIMF had provided a clear code and concise guidelines of a safe mooring system and basic procedures prior to arriving at port are implemented. The importance of this topic is that for us to minimize and deviate from further incidents or accidents that is surely inevitable. Thus, every seafarer should be knowledgeable and aware of the amendments taken in OCIMF 4th edition, Mooring Equipments Guidelines, and the basic procedures prior to the presentation of the arrival at port. OCIMF released the 4th edition of MEG4 or the Mooring Equipment Guidelines, an industry publication for the safe of tankers and gas carriers at terminals. So they released the MEG4 4th edition in order for us to know or to understand that the industry is really important when it comes to shipping, that the tankers and carriers will be moored safely at terminals. It provides clear and concise guidance for ship, terminal and designers, ship operators, and those line manufacturers on safe mooring system design. It was issued in July 2018, and scope of the current article is to provide a quick update on what is being introduced. The 4th edition has been extensively updated and addresses: number one, lessons learned from incidents, most notably from failure of HMSF mooring lines. 2. Human-centered mooring designs and human factors in mooring operations. Number 3. New and developing regulations and guidelines from the IMO or the International Maritime Organization on the safety of mooring. Lastly, alternative mooring technologies and how they can be incorporated safely into the design of mooring system both for ships and terminals. So those are the extensive 4th editions updated that has been addressed by IMO. Guidelines include the following new chapters and key changes. Number 1. Enhanced guidance for purchasing, condition monitoring, and retirement of mooring lines and tails. Second, enhanced guidance on documentation of mooring equipment. Next, a new chapter on the human factors in mooring design. Next, a new chapter on jetty design and fittings. Next, a new chapter on ship-shore interface. So lastly, a new chapter on alternative technologies. So those were the guidelines, include the new chapters and key changes that has been mandated.
New terminology. During the revision of MEG, it was clear that there is a confusion in the shipping industry with the term minimum breaking load, or MBL, and other terminology relating in the strength of OCIMF has strived to provide guidance and clarity in the condition monitoring of mooring lines, and there were several new terms introduced in MEG4 or MEG4. Ship design minimum breaking load. The minimum breaking load of a new dry mooring lines for which a ship mooring system is designed to meet OCIMF standards, environmental criteria, restraint requirements. The ship designs or MBL is the core parameter against which all of the other components of a ship's mooring system and size and designed with defined tolerance. So line design break force or LDBF. It is the minimum force of the new dry splice mooring line will break at when tested according to the Appendix B. This is for all line and tool materials except those manufactured for nylon, except sa mga manufactured sa nylon, which is tested with and splice. This value is declared by the manufacturer in each line's mooring line criteria. See Appendix B and state on a manufactured line data sheet. As outlined in Appendix B, when selecting lines, the LDVF of a line shall be 100% to 105% of the ship designed by MBL. Working load limit well. So this is the picture of do not exceed workload limit well. So the workload limit well, the minimum load that a mooring that line should be subjected to an operational service calculated from the standard environmental criteria. The well is expressed as a percentage of the ship design MBL and should be used as a limiting value in both ship design and operational mooring analysis. During operation, the well should be exceeded. So ang nag-design ani sa mga kuan kay sa working load limit kay ang kuan MBL mao ni siya ang kuan nag-design. So in the same way, the SWL is a limit for fixed equipment. The well value is used a limit with the standard environmental criteria and mooring layout when designing mooring system. In establishing mooring system design, steel wear ropes have well of 55% of the ship design MBL, and all other cordage synthetic have a well of 50% of design MBL. So duha din ang gikuan sa MBL day ang mooring system design ug ang kuan kaning synthetic tag 50% sa MBL design. So line management plan or LMP. LMP is used to manage the operation and retirement of mooring lines and tells that LMP also documents the requirements, assumption, and evaluation methods used in determining the line retirement criteria. The LMP is specific to an operator ship type and trade route. However, MEG or MEG4 gives general guidance on establishing a LMP. Mooring System Management Plan or MSMP. The MSMP, which will complement the ship's safety management system through a goal-based approach, core elements of the mooring system are identified against which high-level goals are established, supported by register of the mooring system component is maintained for the ship life in an accompanying mooring system management plan register or MSMPR. So the summary, the MEG4 or MEG4 is the latest version of the multidiscipline working group's marine industry report. The updated report was produced by the members of various shipping trade organizations, manufactured equipment suppliers, shipyards, and from across to the world. So money, you see OCIMF MEG4 has collected the best known mooring technology and practice in order avoid mooring accident in the future. So manay na siya upat nga kuan. First is new terminology to avoid confusion between manufacturer and vessels. Next new test methods for certificates and standard testing. Rope management recommendation for inspection and maintenance. So mani ning kuan rope management. So enhance ang last kay enhance communication between the manufacturer and the end user. So bridge procedure preparation for arrival at port. Arrival at port is an important part of the ship voyage, and there are actions to be taken aiming to ensure the smooth sail, the safe approach of the ship of a port. Failure in carrying out of the appropriate procedure might lead to an unaffordable situation both vessel and port. So sa magkuan pang ang barko mag-prepare na for arrival diya sa port. So getting ready for the ship arrival. So operators should understand that there are some important preparation to be done when a ship arrives at ports. Such procedure as considered critical as there are a number of complexities involved and require both engine and deck departments to be prepared in order to enable safety for ship and crew. So mag-combine na ang kuan ba ang deck, ang engine ug ang deck sa pag-prepare para ma-safety ang pagkuan sa barko.
So good day, I'm the Cadet Italian. So I'll be continuing our discussion about bridge procedures preparation for arrival at port. So getting ready for a ship arrival. So operators should understand that there are some important preparations to be done when a ship arrives at port. So commonly, before arriving at port, both crew from the deck and engine will have a meeting and plan a procedure that they will follow upon arriving at port. So it's very necessary. So step 1, the crew should focus on key issues related to safe entrance, berthing, and cargo operations of ship at the port, and subsequently complete the pilot card. So we all know that there are high possibilities that we can face some troubles upon doing operations. So the crew upon arriving at port should focus on issues related to safe entrance. So pagpasok ng ship sa port, nearing port, so dapat ang crew dapat i-focus nila yung safetyness sa pagpasok ng ship sa port, then berthing, then cargo operations of ship. So kinahanglan need na nato nga ma-conscious ta ng mga subject matter, because the operation in when a ship is arriving at port is very critical in our line of work. Kay mudunggo man gyud tag barko, then mostly ang trabaho nato is mostly complicated ang trabaho sa basta mudunggo ang tag barko. Kay ang pagpasok sa barko sa port, ang cargo operation, unloading, loading. So need na to nga i-focus ang safe related issues regarding ana. Then step 2, the passage plan should be updated and approved by the master, who should also be in constant communication with the chief officer and the chief engineer in order to keep them informed well in advance for the time of arrival. So dali kayo masabtansa nga ang kanang passage plan nga gamiton nato when we plan on arriving at port, so dapat approved na sa atong master. So dili ta mag as a crew dapat i-approve na mangayo tag approval sa atong master kay siya may captain sa ship. Then dapat constant communication jud muna yung pinaka kinahanglan when arriving at port or doing shipboard operations, communication. So dapat mag-communicate yun ang tanan. Then step 3, a meeting attended by senior officers and officers is crucial in order to discuss and clarify all necessary issues before arrival. So muna tong gingon niya, nagi meeting mahitabuan na before mo maabot sa kanang port, mag-meeting yun ng mga officers ana og crew about unsay procedures na buhaton nila upon arriving at the port. So, key points to be aware of. So, number 1, it is important to note that any action related to this kind of operation should be checked by the officer in charge through the use of preparation for arrival checklist. So, dapat magdadag yun na ang officer in charge sa operation o preparation for arrival checklist, not only to monitor kung sa gibuhat sa crew, but also to check if na follow ba nila ang procedure, basta na sila na-skip or na inalimtan. So, need yan, necessary kaya na. Number 2, during the briefing of the ship, all crew members are assigned duties according to master's order. So, masunod yun ang master, laban na aning mga importante kayo ng mga operation. So, ang master yung magmando nila, then na sila assigned responsibilities. Ang mga crew na angay buhaton sila, then na sila assigned responsibilities nga dapat nilang mabuhat in times sa operation. Then number 3, the main engine of the ship should always be tested. The testing is generally done before the pilot board the ship. Additionally, a careful testing of all important machinery is needed, such as steering gears, generators, important navigation equipments, and etc. So, an-ani nga padung mo sa kanang importante kayo, not only like an-ani nga mga situation, but always dapat i-check ninyo ang mga inyong machinery sa engine, kay dapat i-check nila lang machinery, i-monitor nila. Then sa deck pod ang port, dapat not only sa mga importante nga events like kani ang arrival at port, not only at that time nga dapat nila i-monitor ang mga gears, ang mga steering gears o generators, but also kanang underway ba mo, dapat i-monitor lang yapon, i-check lang yapon ninyo, kay responsibility man nato as seafarers. Then lastly, a useful checklist aiming to provide the necessary steps is required to achieve vessels proper presentation before entering the port. Example like one provided by SQE Marine, here below containing the following sections. So, passage plan, equipment checks before arrival, port and pilotage requirements. So, dapat ang checklist ninyo kay complete yun siya din. Nagkuhan yun siya nag-provide yun siya necessary steps, mga significant steps na dapat ma-check ninyo upon doing or during an operation. So that would be all. Thank you.